I did this command, which you can't even see. But what it does is, I create something called new stuff, and it's any name you want. And it basically, it's two, this is a hunk of JSON, I presume, and it's two records. So I entered those two records, and this is relevant because this is what you might be doing when you load your 450 sales records up. You'll wind up with some structure like that. Well, actually, you're only supposed to enter them one at a time, but anyhow, you'll pull your JSON out from your JavaScript app up on Node and create one of those, and then you can add it to the database by just throwing db user insert and then the name of that new stuff. And that's how I wound up with 3 records in line. Okay? So you all know Mongo already, so that's all boring, right? So I would suggest if you're having troubles with Mongo, this is posted in the notes, not the notes, in the discussion section of So in this course, 420, I started a discussion. So let's go to discussions.
I don't see discussions.
Are you in 420?
Yeah.
It's underneath the home announcements, assignments.
I don't have announcements either.
I bet you're not logged in. It'll show you some things if you're not logged in.
Click on your class. Try expanding the your window too for a second. It should be right underneath assignments, between assignments and files.
I don't have grades either, so yeah, that sort of sounds like I'm not logged on.
Yeah, you're not logged in.
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind.
Click here on inbox, and then it'll force you to log in. So,
It's such a weird setup.
one of your classmates is posting videos, which makes me nervous, but that's okay.
Can't imagine who that'd be. Wish he'd stop.
I didn't mind in my other classes. I knew what I was doing with this one. This is the article that I told you don't ever do, because it ruined my system. And then this one is the article that we're talking about. And I just cut and pasted that text document exactly right in there. So you can pull that out later, play with this. Now, I wanted to proceed now that I have Mongo up and I have Node up and running and I have the ability to create a Node client that would actually send me some data, I wanted to go with step 5 in that original article, which is how am I going to get data from Node into Mongo. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do now, and I hope for those of you who have Mongo running, you can follow along. If you don't, you'll have to recreate these steps, and at least you'll know probably they work. So what he's saying here is the goal of this project is he's going to create a list of looks like mail addresses. And he wants it to be HTML that's going to be displayed. And presumably, he wants the names to come out of the Mongo database. So this is going to be a good exercise in how do you enter data into a client, write it into Mongo, and then get it back out into HTML. Okay? So that's what we're going to try to do. So the first thing is we're going to do is we're going to go to our C node test app.js file, which I can close this file because we're not using that anymore. And do I have why do I have 2 of these? Oh, it's because I probably just logged in. This guy. Okay, so here I am at BC user, and then here's my node test folder that I created. And then here's my data /db file, and here's that Mongo data that it put in there. But we're not gonna touch that, because that would be dangerous to touch that. That's like directly touching CP's files, you don't wanna do that. But also in here, if we go back to our web article, what we wanna edit is the app.js. Now, when I think of app.js, correct me if I'm wrong, I consider it the first thing that runs. Like, the whole app gets set down, and if you have multiple modules that are all linked to each other, that's all well and good, but app.js is the first thing that runs, so it's the main one. So I'm gonna try to open that with Genie. And then I'll go back to the article. And we'll see blah, blah, blah. And they want us to add these variables here. Oh, and this will never work because it's going to point to the wrong location. Body parser, yes. Yeah, so right here, they're suggesting we insert this. And it says Mongo require MongoDB, Mongo require Mongo. Those will probably work for me because that installation that I did from the real Mongo organization did, I don't know if it modified my path or what, but those two work. Then it's going to say monk localhost 2017 no test 1. That might actually work, huh? Because what that's saying is that's the port into Mongo. And it is that port number. And it is that, so it's going to go into that port number, which is going to get it connected to the MongoDB, and that's telling it the name of the database, right? So there's a chance that's going to work. It says we want MongoDB, we want to use it, we want it to use it at a database there, and that's all good. Okay. Now look at the bottom where we have app user routes. Where are our routes? Use routes. Which might have use routes. Now look at the bottom of the file where you have app user routes and users.
Oh, there it is. It's not really the bottom of the file, it's right there.
It's in front of those 3 air handler routines they put in there. So in fact, if you look at your file here, you may actually have a line here that talks about hello world, because I think we modified it yesterday to put hello world in there, but I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to add if you put this above the routing stuff, your app will not work.
Is there any way we could get it running, MongoDB all up and running?
Do you want to take a break and do that?
I would think so.
Sure, go ahead. So, what I would suggest then is, if you don't have Mongo running, go find the directories where we tried to install it, delete them. Use that text document I said, and follow along with those commands. Get it installed. Now, the one thing I'll warn you about that is when you install it that way, it sort of starts up Mongo. And then Mongo will refuse to let you start it again to point it to your thing. So you have to do that installation, and then you have to stop Mongo before you start it and point it to the test directory. All right, so why don't you start doing that? And if you already have it up and running, I would suggest you keep working through here and see if you can get this up and running.
I think that's probably a little earlier. If you scroll a little further down on the page, it shows his FJS with everything basically in the correct spot. So if I'm always describing when to put things and using.
So this is the whole result.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I just copied that whole
Okay, so she's making a great point. The article gives this to you in piecemeal, and then it gives you the whole thing. So you can just cut and paste that whole thing there, but I'm gonna go look at the article and see what it says, just so I have some idea. Thanks for pointing that out. Make her to the router.
I read that.
Time of my life. And I'll never say another bad thing about Linux.
Yeah.
Because as much as I don't like Linux, Macintosh is unbelievable.
Oh,
All these forms you fill out, and then I'm looking for the done or save it.
Yeah.
No, you just delete the form and hold your breath and hope it was saved. It's
Everything auto saves, right? Something like that. I don't like it.
Why would you ever get a Mac?
Why did I get one?
Yeah.
I got one because once in a while some of my students have them and they ask me for help, and then I feel like an idiot. So I
I'm considering getting an iPhone just so I'm more comfortable with Apple products. Like, because I just use it all the time. So right
Yeah.
now I'm just useless.
Well, and to be perfectly fair about it, the MacBook Pro is super thin, super great display. And what I do with it, I open it up and I set host to my Windows box. So
I have the.
it's gonna be my portable window into my
I think
machines.
this is the best laptop there is right now. It's the new XPS 15s.
Yeah.
They're really cool.
So trash is not in .local,
Yeah.
and there's nothing
Yeah,
in my
that's very
trash
comparable to what I just read.
online on this here. Oops, now where did it go? Go back to where I was. There's nothing.
Does it say anything about listening?
Is it, and it's because you're out of hard drive space?
I might be done.
It's because you're out of hard drive space?
I'm not, I still have almost
So
3
you said
gig
I
available.
But it said 1 and 4, right?
Yeah, 3 something.
Maybe we should uninstall more.
Of course, it's running right here so that you can all see and end it. So it really was working for me.
So first of all, I was looking for the trash, and this trash is under PC user, I think, but there's nothing in it. And then here, under
No.
.local, there's nothing.
It's in share. .local slash.
It's not in share, there's,
Oh, so
That'll just tell you where it is.
there's another trash in there?
Pseudo service.
what's this say?
Oh,
That's home.
That'll give you some good feeling that it's really running.
Yeah, it did.
So what is this? If I click on this again, does it tell me what the real thing is?
I don't think so.
So, it's really shared.
I'm thinking if you uninstall Mongo and just reinstall it without doing the upgrade. Or actually, you should be able
I've already
to.
done the upgrade, and it, as part of it, it did a delete of the old
Do you
stuff.
understand the other one?
Supposedly, that's what it said.
The issue is I've got work here at 5:30.
Oh.
And in the lab.
Can I increase
That's
the
horrible.
size?
And I'm here till 9:30.
The size of your hard drive?
Yeah,
Go work on
in
homework.
Oracle, I mean, in the settings.
I just have to turn
No.
that into what the other thing is and just run out of this. Essentially.
Remember,
I've got
I
to
went
use that
all through
as
that.
base and then.
I'm
You
not
ended
gonna
up just
swear
having
that's
to
the best
recreate
base to
one
start
with
from,
the
but
bigger
it
one?
seems like a good base to start.
Well, I could.
It's kind of an involved process.
Script, not script. I can need to make something that makes that for the build. It says it comes with it. So she fills data in.
Well, I want it to be a form. I want to see a form, and then,
Do we have it? Is there a thing to connect to ASPX or not yet? You didn't show us that.
is there a way to do what?
To go from ASPX to this.
Yes, you can use Mongo with APIs in Visual Studio.
Why do you want to do that? Oh, no, I want a JavaScript, J client.
Okay, sorry, I think formatting windows. Does it have that, Jay?
And when you use a J client,
Please
you
tell
will
me.
have a form, and you'll be submitting a
Yes.
HTML form. Sorry, what?
You just want a JavaScript with HTML form that can
Yeah.
happen on the, you don't care about change.
Yeah, when we get done with this project today, you'll have something that's running, which you could extend into the real homework, I hope. You can definitely get it to submit one record, okay? And then,
So essentially, this which qualifies as form?
yeah.
It's a form.
Yeah, that's the
So it's
form.
two step out. Great, so that's working.
What's happening over here?
I told it to,
At the end of
in
this,
the
you go to this video.
sudo mongod command with the whole DB path, I added the -- small files like it said that was an option.
And is it running?
It seems, yep, there it says it's waiting for connections on port 27.
Bingo! There we go. We're all running.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna wait for it.
Okay. Spent 30 seconds gloating, and now
Something's not looking right.
back to work.
I have records in my database, but only one. We need three.
It doesn't matter, it's not displaying, so something's not displaying right between client and the database.
It's about this stuff, right?
Just could just do the homework
I see
right
your
now.
code. Okay, so that's, do you what's your PC index?
Are we supposed to add like
Okay,
no,
so
that's just what it is.
now we're going to go forward, and we're going to write a simple little JavaScript /Jade application, which is going to read the data in Mongo and dump it into a client window. And then we're going to create another client window where you can enter data, and it'll write it into Java. It'll write it into MongoDB. And that is the fundamental plumbing that you need to ever get this homework done. So, thank goodness Charlie's not here, but let me give you my idea of this. This whole paradigm of using Node is the same as what MVC calls API. And fundamentally, Node is sitting here in its simplest form, and you're adding what I think they call routes. So you put in a file in called routes that says if somebody types, let's say your computer is named Bob. Okay? If you type Bob / what should it do? And if you type Bob new user, what should it do? And if you type Bob / display data, what should it do? So rather than thinking of a program as like a big program with all these pieces, it's a whole series of small pieces. This is called a RESTful API interface. Is you're going to be doing nothing but gets inputs from the client, and like you'll say get the data, or get the data to display it, or put the data to put it filled up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our list of routes, and we're going to add a new route so that we can display the data that's in Mongo, and we're going to write a new route that'll let us add data. Okay. So each of these little routes will then point to what's called a controller, which is a JavaScript piece of code that does whatever it needs to do. And part of what it needs to do is it'll then use a J template to push data back down. And all Jade is, it's a funny way of formatting HTML, plus it gives you this cute ability to map JavaScript variables that's in your controller code and automatically insert them into the HTML. The same way that ASPX lets you insert C# variables into the middle of your ASP code. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, and what we want is we want this little mini application, which is the endpoint of one of these API calls, to generate HTML that looks like that. It's going to be an unordered list with 3 list items, and this data is going to be 3 lines of data coming out of the MongoDB, the ones we just put in there when we did that exercise. Oh, you know, you may not have done that yet. After you got Mongo up and running, you had to continue with that article. If you haven't done that yet,